This is my 1983 Porsche 928S. It was my daily, but it's been on the drive since lockdown, so it's been sat here now for about 2.5 years. I want it back on the road. Right, let's go for a start. Starting nice on the key. And when I try to give it a bit of gas, it's definitely a misfire. So a bit of a problem there. So my main thing to sort in here, as you can see, is my water temperature doesn't work. My fuel tank is showing full, I don't believe it is. No rev counter and no oil pressure, or in fact amps. So there's something wrong with this cluster, so that's going to be my priority. Started out quite nice today. It's a nice warm day. It's about 37 degrees here, or 35 degrees, and it fired straight up. Sounds a little bit lumpy. So the tried and tested method of jiggling things a bit has given me my fuel tank reading, the oil temperature and my amps. So jiggling the connections into there have kind of brought a lot of stuff back to life. Still don't have the tacho, so I think the right thing to do now will be to take the steering wheel off, undo the cluster, and just kind of clean up all the electrics in there. So what's this thing need for an MOT? First off, I got to fix the bonnet catch. It's not sticking in. These lights I hope will pass. They're marginal. They were an advisory last time. All the lights and everything else works. The brakes obviously are going to need an Italian tune-up. I'll sort those out. In here I got to put the fuses back once I've sorted that out. I need to take that cluster off now and get the back of the electronics of the board out so I can get that fixed. I got to sort out the window switches, and I think that's it. Easy. Oh, and I do have a lovely Panasonic period stereo to fit in there. So the car is complex as the 928. I've got hold of the manuals. I've had them from eManualsOnline. I will give you a link in the description below. You can use my referral link to get a discount on these. Now, my plan for working on the 928 is I'm going through this manual, reading through the areas that I need to look into, and then I'm questioning people on the forums and kind of linking the two things together. So it's great having all this resource on the laptop in the garage and just having pictures to refer to. Look at that. I do love a Porsche interior. I wish my car had Porsche. I think that is something I might have to look into when I come to do the interior. But for now, let's carry on working through this, getting all these bits done, and we see if we can get this car with an MOT. Right, let's get this off. I've already disconnected the plastic bits from here. They're down in the footwell. Let's take this pad off. I hate doing this. Oh, that's the horn pad. Beep, 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 beep. Is it the car crying for help? Stop taking me apart! Right then, anyone who's taken off a steering wheel before knows you don't undo the whole thing. You leave the nut on just a little bit so you don't punch yourself in the face. Oh, that one's come off quite nice. Okay, steering wheel. Right, there should be 2 bolts under here and just a clamp on this, so this will slide and come off, and then this will lift up and off, and then we should be able to get access to this. So I've got to be really careful doing this. I can't turn the Allen key all the way around, it's going to scratch the leather. It's out. So there's probably a gentler way to get that off. around here we've got this pad, soft pad, so I think that's going to pop off, and then that'll allow me to lift this all out of the way. Okay, so I want to be gentle here. I don't want to mark. Okay, so that's come off. Right, that's my cluster out. Just kind of like a push fit, so those two bolts we got earlier hold that in as well. And I take these out before I lose them. Right, let's inspect the condition of this. Right, overall, from what I can see, this is looking pretty good, other than these. Come on, camera, focus. These are discoloured here, need a clean. I've got these ones up here that need a clean. And this side, which is when I was wiggling and everything seemed to bring things back to life, it looks okay, so probably just again another clean. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up, put it back together, see if that helps. Right, so we've got this out. I'm gonna take all the back off now so I can take this front off and clean it. So to do that, I need to undo all these screws around the edge, and I'm going to take all the bulbs out. I've got LED ones for this. I'm going to take all these screws off and nuts and bolts rather, and I'm going to clean all the contacts before putting it back together. Right, this should now just lift off. Ta-da! Awesome! So that leaves this, which I can just put to one side and clean up. The next thing I've got to do is I've got to take this off because the odometer doesn't work. So I think if I look at the back, there's 4 screws there, and then that should just pull away. But of course I need to do this now. I think what I'll do is I'll rest it back in the cluster, so I can gently undo it without damaging anything. So I've spent a bit of time turning this one, and there's definitely, the teeth have rubbed off. This has gone all rubbery and horrible. So this one needs to come out. So I'm going to take these circlips off, take it out, order a new one of these, and then we'll have this fixed before it all goes back together. Right, it turns out to get this little broken cog off, I've got to take this cog out, then disconnect this cog, and then slide that one out. I thought this pin would come out, but it doesn't. So got to pull this pin out here. Oh, hey, that's nice and easy. So this cog lifts out. There we go. It looks like it's 2 cogs together. Oh, look at that. So now this cog comes off. And now this one. And there we have it. Our worn out cog. Now what I got to do is I've got to count the outer teeth and count the inner teeth and order the right cog. I don't know if you can see that on there, but these ones have worn away there. So count those up, order a new one, put it all back together. So the next thing to do is to rub all this down. It's got this horrible powdery surface on it, which it's not meant to have. I rub it down. I started here with 600 just to smooth it off, and then I'll clean it up and then either condition it to see if it comes back black, or I'll spray it with satin black. Now the big question is, have I ruined it and definitely have to spray it, or is it good? So it's dried overnight and it's still got those speckles. I guess I'll give it another rub down. So I've started wet and drying this down, and I'm eventually getting through this kind of surface stuff. Now I don't know if this is some sort of paint treatment that was on it from Porsche, but it's kind of, excuse my sink, it's kind of gone tacky and sticky, and I can just kind of rub through it. So I think what I've got to do now is I've just got to carry on and sand through all this stuff and get it back down to the plastic base, and then I'll decide what to do from there. So this has been rubbed down with 600 grit paper. I've got a slight mark on there. I need to get rid of that before I can paint it. And then we're going to prime it up, and I'm going to spray it with matte black. Right, I'm going to mask off these sections here on the inside, because that's how the light gets shined up onto the clocks, and I don't want to get paint in there. Just going to smell the paint. Poor, stinky.
It smells kind of good, kind of bad.
Right, so this first bit of spray painting is going to be done by my 6-year-old. Feeling brave. You ready? Hold it down. Can you squeeze it? There we go. Well done. Right then, jump down then so Daddy can get in there. You've probably done a better job than Daddy can do anyway. Right then.
I think he's done a better job.
I think that's enough for the first coat. We've just got to wait now.
Until it dries.
That's right. Right, this is a third coat. It's looking good. There's the new cog. It's arrived. That cost me 30 quid for one small cog. So we can put this back together. Okay, that's on there. Then it's this one. Oh, they meshed together quite nice. And then this one, which came apart, it's together like that. And that's in there. Like that. They are all in there now and working together nice. Excellent. I need to clean all this up, so I'm going to take all the bulbs out, take all the screws out, lift all these bits off, and then that'll make this easier to put back together. And now for paint. Sorry about the light, my phone is failing. So this is a matte black. So that's all painted. There's the odd little mark on it, which is not great, but it's much better than it was. It's not as matte as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a much kind of duller finish than that, but that is what it is. We've put that back together. I've rubbed all these contacts down now. I did try to use a spray contact cleaner. That didn't touch the dirt on them at all, so I've gone over this with 600 wet and dry and just rubbed all the brass contact or the copper contacts back. And then I started to look to fit these LED lights, but the connectors that come with it, which are in here, I don't know if you can see them, doesn't matter anyway, they're the wrong ones, they don't fit in the holes, that's a frustration. and I can't use the old connectors because they're sealed. They're actually a complete unit. I tried getting a bulb out, but they just smash. So I've got to order new LEDs, so they're on the way. So now back to that thing there, and let's go and fix the door. Right, I couldn't find a Porsche specific one, and my local motor factor didn't have any to select through, so I've taken a chance and ordered this one. It's of a classic Mini. It looks like it's going to be okay, so let's see if it'll fit. So it's not right, but it'll work. Just see this spring with it. So the problem on the door is it doesn't open unless I jiggle it about like that. And looking down here, when I pop this in and pull the door handle, it's not moving enough. But if I pull the interior door handle, it works fine. So door card's got to come off. For the door card to come off, I've got to pop that off, unscrew that, take this off there, put it down somewhere, start taking some of these bits off. I think in there we've got a bolt to undo. We're going to take those bolts off there. There's nothing else down there, and hopefully then this will all come away and it should lift off. We've got to pop this little thing off here as well. Taking a note of the wires, and that's going to disconnect off there, and then this bit should lift off, and then we can have a look what's left on the rest of the door. This bit turns off. Oop, and that's it, the door card's away. Alright, that's my door card nearly off. I've got this light to disconnect in here as well. There we are. God, this door card's seen better days. I do have some new ones, but don't really know how to transfer this leather over. Okay, you can't really see here. What I can gather is that up the back there needs to be adjusted to put more pressure on the catch. Now it looks like a rose joint that'll pop off. So I'm going to try and pop that off and see if I can adjust it, because I can't adjust it in place. Right, I managed to pop it off, and now it's screwed from the top, and I've extended it a bit. And I'm going to pop it back on, but I can see that if I push that down and then pull the lever it was connected onto, it does work, so hopefully this is right. Right, it's back on. It's quite a nice feel on that door handle now. And there it is, my door back on. So that's another MOT fail out the way. Oh, I got to pop the cap back on there. I put that in here. There it is. Ah, where's it gone? How did I manage to throw that out of the car? There it is. Done. Well, since I've messed up with those bulbs and got the wrong ones, they're not going to arrive till tomorrow, so it's going to be another day or so before I can put this back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some wet and dry, and these couple of lumps on here that I'm not happy with, I'm going to just rub it back and respray it, because it's going to be another day or two before this can be refitted, so I've got nothing to lose. May as well try. So bulbs wise, things aren't working out. I bought 2 sets of LED replacement bulbs. None of them fit. These ones, which look like they really would fit, they're a bit tight, and when you twist them, I've had the LEDs popping off. So I'm going to scrap LEDs for now, and I'm going to stick with the old bulbs. I did try popping these bulbs out, see if I could just put an LED replacement in, but it appears to be a complete unit and the bulb just smashed, so now I'm a bulb down. So I guess I will have to try and make at least one LED fit and work just to replace the bulb I'm missing, or I can try and find one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the bulbs and test them, make sure they all work, and then just put it all back together. One. All nuts and bolts are quite hard to clean, so I filled it up with cleaner spray, and I'm just giving them a shake, and I leave them sit in there, see if they clean up. Right, they've been in there some time. It's as clean as they're going to get. That'll do. So the bulb's back in, the speedo's back in. Nice new bulbs on these. Right. Next one. Amps and battery. Amps and battery. Battery amps, battery volts. Oil on this side. Push pin's been cleared up. I've got some delamination here on this one, so I've got to make sure this is in nice and flat. Need to remind myself where the resistor went. Right, the joys of filming yourself is I can see where the resistor went, and that goes on this battery side across these 2 pins here. So he's going to pop back on, and I believe it was 68 that way. I don't know if it matters which way resistors go, but that's the way it's going on. Couldn't see my dial. Right, fuel and temperature. Before I put these on, I've got to put on the light brackets which are in the car. So the warning light for this one up there for over temperature and low fuel. Right, that's back together. Just need to wait for the bezel to dry now so I can put it all back together and drop it in the car. And then it should look nice and hopefully it'll all work. These bulbs look like they're already on. I haven't even got the ignition on, so that's what I need to check out. What's going on there? So I'm a bit impatient, I couldn't wait for the bezel, so I'm going to try and see if I can see if these work. Yeah, I've definitely got lights on there. It's probably because I got all this off and I've knocked something on. So that's what I need to check out. Right, it's showing full fuel, no amps. So that's no better. No RPM, no temperature, no bugger. Unless I got these two the wrong way around. Let's try that. Well, I've swapped those over. The difference is now I don't have any of those lights on. So maybe I just had those the wrong way around. Ooh, fuel's working. That one moved. It looks like I've knocked my oil pressure. Battery is showing 11 amps. Let's see what happens when we fire this up. Yes, we've got amps, we've got fuel, we've got... I've got an RPM. Yes! So we got stuff working. Alright. And there's my finished cluster. Something landed on it just on the last quarter paint, so I'm just going to have to live with that for now. I need to get this back together, but looking much better. How good are those looking? I'm pretty chuffed with that. They look amazing. I am really happy with that. There's two bits that need to go in here to pin that up into there. I can't see where they've gone. They're still in on this side. They're on the back seat. Cool. So those are going to go in there. Like that. Like that. Okay guys, why do I have a spare one of these? That's bizarre. Right, I guess before I go any further, I should check that all these still work. Hey, so we've got show my stop lamp, oil, fuel. It's showing me oil pressure at 2 to 3. Surely that should be 0. Parking brake is showing us on. Nothing else is coming on, and I don't know if it needs to. Battery amps is showing at 11. That moves and I press the brake. So I don't know if there's meant to be other stuff on at this point. Let's fire it up. So those things seem to be working. My warning light has just come on. I don't know if things need a wiggle. My oil pressure pressure seems to be way too high, so I think I've knocked that needle. That needs adjusting, but everything else seems to be fine. Temperature I won't know until I warm the car up. Well, temperatures drop back down to 0. So I guess it probably is oil pressure at the moment because I've been running it, so that's why that's there. Only my stop lamp is coming on there. I thought all these are meant to indicator flashes. That's fine. Does it with the hazards are on. Let's tell me parking lights are on, so that's working. Lights have popped up there. It's not giving me any indication that the lights are on. Which should be, that's main beam, isn't it? Nope. Oh, that wasn't working. Still have no wipers though. Nothing showing for the fog lamps. I don't appear to have main beam illumination on there. So still not everything working perfectly. Bugger. Right, I was just sitting here with the power on and all of a sudden everything has come to life. We've got coolant, washer fluid, stop lamp, tail lamp. Over here we got brake fluid, brake pads, parking brake, brake PR, whatever that says, and engine oil. So they've all suddenly come on. So let's fire it back up. Put the lights on. Parking lights comes up on down there. So I still have no flash on there. I need that on there for the MOT, I think. Still lumpy. I'm still concerned about this gauge here as well. I'm hoping I don't have to take that out. It seems to be just quietly getting better, so I don't know if there's anything on there that needed charging up, or but if I put the parking lights on, that comes on. Put the lights up, put it on, that comes on. So yeah, all good. I'm still concerned about the gauge there. I may need to take it back out and look at that. Well, I've got to take this cluster back out. The oil needle, I've definitely nudged it or something when I've had it out. It's definitely gone up too far. I've looked back at the old footage and I can see it's not in the same resting place it was. So all this back off. That's part of the reason why I didn't glue this on, so I can just kind of like lift the front off and tap it down rather than take it all apart again. So method in my madness, I guess. Right, let's take this all back off and adjust that blooming oil pressure gauge. Oh, right, I've stripped all out and redone it. This now sits a lot lower and only goes up to the 5 when you turn it on, so it seems to be a bit better. But I don't know if it's just sitting there now because there is actually oil pressure because I've been running the engine. So sits there like that. Seems to be much better. That's all back on. Last thing, the horn. So the horn works.
not on the pad. No, it works. Just upset all the neighbours. Right, so that all seems to be working. All the warning lights are a bit intermittent. It's meant to all come on and then turn off when you turn the ignition on, but sometimes they're all on, sometimes they're not. So I don't know what's happening there. But everything I need for an MOT is now working in there. So this is all back together. The only thing I've got left to fix now is the wipers. And I need to have a look at the electric windows. They're going down but not up. I think I need to check the seats as well, because seats need to move back and forth in the UK. Yes. Bit of a dicky switch, but they're going back and forth, so that's cool. So don't have to worry about that. That one's broke, I know that. So just the wipers, and then take it for a spin to the MOT.
Right, what I've done for the wipers is I've connected this little battery up. It's a good battery, and I've hooked it up to the earth on the wiper motor, and then I've put 12 volts to each of the pins, and there is no action on the motor itself. So I think I've got a dead motor. So let's find a new one of those and get it changed. So I've just looked at replacement wiper motors. On one site, genuine Porsche ones is 750 quid. And second hand they go for 150 quid. So I'm actually going to take this one out to see if I can refurb it. So I've disconnected wiper, I've popped this off, I've got these 3 bolts here to take those out. I've taken off this clip here that holds it, so fingers crossed, do those and it'll pop out. I really need to get a hoover down in there. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to open it up, see what it looks like inside. Well, there's a good chunk of rust in there. Can you see that? And that is quite graunchy on there. And these contacts look corroded to hell. I think this just needs a damn good clean. I'm going to be careful not to damage this stuff. So that earth is looking a little bit corroded. That is quite dry in there. But that's turning. Needs re-greasing and packing, but it's turning. Let's de-rust this, put it back together, see if it works. So I'm going to check continuity across these. That's there. To the brush. Continuity to the brush. And that's the same across all 3. Okay, so that's as clean as I can get it. I've got all the bits I can out. Okay, let's put that back in. I appear to have fixed it.
And then it stops. If I give it a wiggle, what is going on? So I've cleaned up in there. I've cleaned all these because there was bits of rust connecting all these together, so I cleaned all that up, and it still wasn't working. And then I was looking at the commutator plates down here, and they were absolutely clogged together with carbon. I cleaned all those out and it started working intermittently, and I'd twist it and it'd start, I'd open it, blow it, twist it, it'd start, and I kept on doing that, and eventually now it's working all the time. So I put it back together, and fingers crossed that was it. I checked all the continuity across everything and all that sort of stuff. I also made sure that none of these contacts were touching each other, and these wires weren't touching components they shouldn't have been touching, because I was thinking as the brushes were kind of wearing out and moving in, these cables had started making contact with things they shouldn't make contact with. So it looks like we've got ourselves a tidy motor. Oh, it's amazing what's in there. I've just put my hand in and reached that out. So I'm going to get all this out of there before I refit that pump. Right, I've hooked them up and they've immediately gone into park, and it looks like they're in the wrong place. So I'm going to disconnect that bolt again and then readjust them into the park position and then test them out. Okay, moment of truth. Ignition on. I don't get anything on the first click. Oh, I'm not getting anything on any of them. Why is that? Right, let me go give it a tap. We've gone from bad to worse. There's a cable tie holding this on, so now I need to get all this off and see how I can fix that properly. Blimey, Nora. That was a lot of effort. So I think compounding my issue with my wipers sticking, now we know the motor works, is these need a lot of grease in. They are pretty stiff. There's not much free movement in there. So these need cleaning up and greasing. This one's not so bad, so that's what it's meant to be like. And this one it is. Really tough. So that's going to be stressing my motor. So I'm going to clean all this side up. Clean this side up while I'm at it. Then the other main issue I've got is, if I can see where this clicks together, this comes round here and connects onto there. But this is so worn out, it has snapped. So it keeps dropping off. And somewhere, I don't know if you can see that there, maybe like that, it keeps dropping off. And someone had put a cable tie around this bit, which again probably wasn't helping the motor go any. So now is how do I solve this problem? Is this kind of like rose cap available? I somehow doubt it. So this is a solution I've come up with. One side, the link is sitting on top, and the other side it's, so this side, sorry, when it's right round, this is sitting on the top, and this side is hanging underneath. Now one of the bushings on the top side is good on both sides, and this one is only good on one side, so I've popped it off. I'm going to pop the good bushing on this side, clamp him in, and then on this side that will then push down and clip into place, and that should be good and solid and last another couple of years. I'm an evil genius. So by swapping that around, the good part of the bush is now connected to that one there. That one's on there. And that
is fixed and moves nice and free. So I've only done these with WD-40, so I need to get some grease to fill these with, and then this can go back on the car. Right, let's open it back. It's easier than getting it out. Not as bad to get in as it is to get out. Still not easy. I decided to take the front cover off because it was only a matter of moving the trim and getting 2 screws out. And you can see we've got some heavy corrosion on here. So I'm just going to quickly rub it back. I've started down here. And that's just going to get the worst of it off. This isn't a restoration. This is just MOT prep. So I'm just going to do a little bit on here just to make it a bit tidier and get it back on. Right, I've stripped out the old pump, but that wasn't working. I've got a new one just resting in over there. Let's give it a test. Oh, that got me. Right, that's all working. That was the last thing. Let's go see if we can get an MOT. So first attempt, not too bad. It's a fail, but the only things I have to repair for the MOT is a steering rack gate that is split, so I can take a look at that. That should be relatively easy. And the body components damaged, likely to cause injury, and that's the rubber mouldings on the back of the spoiler. So let's get a steering rack gator, let's get those components off, and we'll get this thing back for an MOT. So 2 really simple failures. So these are not connected, so they held on with 2 screws there. I'm just going to take those off for now, both sides, because these need repairs before they can be connected back on because the hook was broke. And the other one, which I'm starting down here, is my steering gator in there was cracked. Now I didn't do any under the car checks, I just took it down the MOT place for that because it's been standing for so long. So I'm surprised it's only one. So I've got the spare part under there. I'm going to knock off the track rod, twist this off, slide it off and slide the new one on. Now I've got this bad boy for getting these off, so that'll just go in there, put it on the top, and I'll tighten that nut and then that'll pop out. And it should be nice and simple. I'll count the twists off, count it back on, job done. There we are. Nice. It's off, count them off. 1, 2, 3, 16, 17. 17, it fell off on 17. Sealed it off. When I was tightening the nut, the whole thing was turning, so a little bit of a cheat. I just got the jack, putting a bit of weight on it, and then I can tighten that up. And we have got a nice new shiny nut on there. It's a much bigger nut, but there's enough nylock coming through. Now for these to come off. Should just be a matter of... And there we go, see that needs a little fix there, and then that just hooks onto there, on there, got a bit of rust to deal with under here. Put that back so I don't lose it. Same thing there, broken there. Side's looking a bit better, bit of rust. But that's the other fix done. And there we are, it's a pass with defects, and let's be fair, that defect list is fairly long, but nothing critical. All things I can fix. So that's a great result. I've got an MOT back on the 928. It still needs some work before I can be a truly daily driver again. I need to have a look at why it's misfiring. It's just enough to make it annoying when it's driving and the performance isn't there. So that's the next thing to run through on you, the fuel system. But for now, it's back to being a rolling project. That makes me very happy. Take it easy, guys. Thanks a lot.